Hi, Professor Civic. This is my presentation of my final project, and my final project consisted of the main question of what is beauty, and one of my main goals was to explore what real women are saying today about what beauty in our society is. So I interviewed three different women that were older, and I also included a perspective of a younger teen that's like a preteen, a 10-year-old, and she provided her perspective on what she believes that beauty is today. And I will demonstrate more about it as I go further into detail. A real life organization that I would like to target would be an organization that promotes women's self esteem in a positive way and promotes positive body image to women. This story would be more in the journalistic side rather than the strategic side because I do believe that this project does tell a story, and it tells a story in many different ways, as I will go further in to explaining. All right, so let me start with my about page. And my about page is simply just the page in which I want to introduce myself, who I am, what I'm majoring in, and then I introduce my project to someone who wouldn't know what my project is about, and I describe all the components that my project has and the different reasons why I chose to explore them in this manner. So let me go to my first component, which is audio. Audio was something that I used on the first person that I interviewed, and that was Didi Vega. She is a 10-year-old dancer, and in this audio, she was able to share her views on what she believes that beauty is and the role of beauty in dance. I thought that Didi would be a great person to interview because even though she is younger, she is in dance and she is exposed to all these ideals of what beauty is. And she gave me really cool perspectives on what she believes that it is. And we talked about the physical attractiveness of beauty, and we also talked about the part of beauty that mostly only dancers would understand, but she was able to talk about it in a way that my audience would understand. And I thought that was a really cool component to add to this project because we weren't talking about the physical part anymore, therefore the makeup, the hair, the outfits. We were talking about the dance itself and what made the dance itself beautiful. And she would talk about the facial expressions, the music that you choose, the way in which the dancer moves their hands, and all of that really you aren't able to get that perspective unless you are a dancer. And I was able to get that perspective in my project, and I thoroughly enjoyed that I did. I chose to do audio for Didi because I thought, even though she is in the limelight a lot, I thought it would be easier for her to share her ideas with me if I wasn't pointing a big camera at her. And with the audio, we were simply having a conversation, and my recorder was in the middle, and we were just having a conversation about what she believes that beauty is. So that is that component. My second component was infographics, and this component was something that I use to share data and statistics that I researched online to the viewers. So I like infographics because it is a way in which I am able to compile data and statistics and tell them in a way that is not overwhelming. Tell them in a way that involves graphics and graphs and pictures and all that. And it's a way to not frustrate the reader because I know personally that when I see a bunch of numbers in a paragraph, I just not a big fan of it, but I'll still read it, but I'm not a big fan of it. And so this way it is able to present it easily and nicely to the reader. And I chose this medium for statistics and data because, like I said, it's just more appealing way to present this data than if I did a video or audio about it. I don't think anybody would really be interested in watching or listening in audio about me reading off a bunch of statistics. And my last component that I incorporated in this project was a video component. And what I did for the video was I interviewed 3 different women from different backgrounds, and they all answered the same questions, but it is really easy to tell the different perspectives that they provided for us. So essentially, what I wanted to do before I had my final result with this video page, I wanted to compile all the video clips that I had together in one big video, and it wouldn't be that long. It probably would have been like 8 minutes, but when I started editing it, I just didn't like the way it looked. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna edit one interview, a second and third, and 3 different videos and see how I like that. And I liked it. And I liked it even more when I put it together in a story like this. It is able to provide a story to the reader. It is able to provide a more personal connection with the viewer because, like, let's say I am the reader right now, so I read the introduction and, oh, okay, let me look at Carla's video. And as we go through Carla's video, she gives her perspective on each question. She gives her views on each question. And then I look at Gabby's and it's totally different. And lastly, Danny, who's 21 years old, she's not 19 like Gabby and Carla, which is not really a big difference, but you'd be surprised on the differences that demographics make when answering these questions. And I really enjoyed that as a viewer, you are able to view each different video, but at the same time, after viewing all 3 videos, the storytelling aspect of this page is that you do end up with one larger story, and that is 3 women answering what they believe that the ideals of beauty are in our society today. And they each answer it with very different perspectives, very different answers. And I just thoroughly enjoyed the way that this last page looked like because it wasn't what I was picturing at first, but the way that it ended up, I was really happy with how it ended up. And the reason why I chose to do video for this project was because it would be a nice way to see their facial expressions when I asked them each question, the way that they reacted to the questions, the way in which they answered them. And you're really able to see how someone is answering it with a lot of emotion and they're genuinely answering the question on what they believe that beauty is in a way that you don't really get to get personal like that with someone. You don't really get to experience emotion like that with someone every day. And to be able to do that in my project, I was really happily satisfied with the way that it ended up. All right, and other than those 3 components, well, that is all for my project, and I hope that you are having a great time in Australia, and I will see you when I come back for spring semester. Thank you.